What's going on, everybody? Jorge Aquino coming to you live and direct. This is Tormenting Tarmac. It's the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Coming at you live on a Wednesday evening, right here out of the west end of the PHX. We're in Surprise, baby. We're in Bird City. It's been a while since I've done the Bird City thing. I don't know. You guys need to let me know whether or not you like the Bird City thing or not. If not, I might not care. I might. Who knows? We'll see. Sometimes you just kind of feel it out. You just kind of feel it out. It's a fun one tonight. I've actually got a returning guest on here. It's a buddy of mine who's actually what I believe to be a fantastic, really talented photographer. And ladies and gentlemen, that being Matthew Engdall, right here, a local Phoenician, hanging out with me tonight. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, brother.
How's it going? Good to
I'm
see
doing
you,
okay.
Jorge.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. We Matt and I got a chance to go ahead and do a show together for about 20 minutes back during Barrett Jackson Car Week. We went ahead and did it live from the warehouse
Yeah.
while they were doing their Avance event, which was
Mhm.
a pretty banging event, if you ask me. That was a good night.
It's funny because that was my first Avance event as a non-member. I just kind of walked in and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is cool." And I didn't become a member until about 2 months later. But I'm happy to say I'm a member now, and I'm loving the benefits of it.
that's cool, man. Shout out to Avance. Big shout out to AMG Josh, who's a friend to
Hmm.
both of us, obviously,
Oh yeah.
who has now taken over being the director of the Scottsdale Phoenix area for Avance and whatnot. After Nicole Wilson went ahead and took over as regional director, who
Hmm.
she laid out what I believe to be an amazing foundation for the year plus that she like amazing. Like she did an amazing job, and
Yeah.
then she goes ahead and leaves it to Josh. And then Josh just takes the ball and runs with it. And he's just been going full throttle, doing amazing. And you love to see it. Actually, Josh and I think we talked last week. And I think we're going to go ahead and run it back here relatively soon because he's been on the podcast before. But ever since he took over as the director of Avance, we haven't gotten a chance to go ahead and see each other as much. But we're gonna hopefully change that very soon, and we'll go ahead and get a chance to go ahead and record a podcast. But you and I were over at the warehouse back in January. That was a lovely evening. Let me tell you something, man. I feel like I owe you and a couple people an apology. I was not feeling the greatest that Friday night. Like I hope it didn't come across, but like
No.
there was a moment, dude, that so I had been doing Barrett and the whole week straight,
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
day, full days over in Scottsdale, going back and forth from Scottsdale back to my house in Surprise, which
Oh
is like
man.
45 miles away. So it was a
Yeah, it's not
45,
easy.
it's not, it's a 45-mile commute to and from.
Yeah.
And by the time that Friday night came, or Friday afternoon into Friday night came,
Hmm.
I was starting to go ahead and like I was not just low energy. Well, I'm not sure if it came across that way. I was trying to keep up energy, but dude, I was starting to feel sick. Like by the time that were done recording, I think I did like four interviews, yours included. I
Yeah.
was like low and my nose was starting to get runny and
Oh
it
man.
was a little bit rainy that Friday night. And so
Yep.
after I was done at the warehouse, I had to drive back up to Scottsdale for dinner and an event that started at 11 p.m. Or no, I'm lying.
11.
No, I'm
No, hold
lying.
on.
9 p.m. The event
I was
started
gonna
at 9
say,
p.m. And but we didn't get up to the event until 11 p.m. And
oh
I
my
was
gosh, dude.
genuinely like I felt like I was dying. I did. And so I feel like I wasn't I wasn't 100% myself that Friday night. So I apologize. I
No,
owe you an
you know
apology.
what? It's okay. You don't because you were professional, and it was my first time to be able to sit down and talk with you, and I felt nothing but like honored to be there and to be your
Oh,
first
thanks,
host
dude.
of the podcast too. Like I didn't get that sense at all. I just got that you came in, you sat down, you set up the mics, and said, "Let's do this thing." So
Yeah. I
I
was
didn't get low energy from you at all. So apology not accepted. No, but seriously,
fair.
no, it's totally fine. No
Awesome.
apologies needed. That was a fun time, and I'm
That
glad
was
we
a
get
really
to
fun time.
I'm glad we're back here doing it again.
Agreed.
Granted, over Zoom this time, but that's hey, it's what works out for the time schedule. So,
Agreed. I mean, because I got off of work at 5 p.m. and
mm,
well, I'd say 5 p.m., but I still have to walk out to my car. So by the time that I actually end up leaving my work, it ends up being like 5:20. And I'm like,
yeah,
and you were over like I think you're like East Valley kind of ish, or at least beginnings of East Valley. And so, sometimes it works out to, it's maybe better for me to be in the confines of my home. So that way, at least I get a chance to go ahead and see my family and then still
yep,
be able to go ahead and do everything and whatnot. Because if not, by the time, because this happens a lot, Matt. And for anybody who's wondering, like, about the back ends or the BTS of Tormenting Tarmac, like, I do try to travel. And when I say travel, like,
hmm
I'll try and meet up with my guests at a spot, whether I come to you or we meet
hmm
somewhere and things of that nature, and I love that.
hmm
But the problem is, by the time that you get there, it's like 6:30, maybe 7, depending.
yep,
Getting set up, talking,
yep,
everything like
yep,
that, doing the show, talking after we're done. By the time
yep,
that I look, it's like 9 o'clock or it's like
yeah,
9:15, and I'm
and then you
not,
gotta drive
and
home.
I got to drive all the way back home.
Yeah,
And 9 times out of 10, where I'm doing these shows is either Central Phoenix, North Phoenix, or Scottsdale.
yep,
Sometimes, and or if I go to the warehouse, because I've done podcasts over at the warehouse, like I've
yep.
Rebecca and I did a show last year. I was all the way in Mesa, and I was like, I have to drive all the way from Mesa to Surprise. By the time that I get home, it's like 10:30.
Yeah, yeah, it's a long
It's an
way.
insane turnaround. I'm like, yeah, I don't see my kids, barely get a chance to go ahead and talk to my wife. I'm eating dinner that late, and guess what? Still have to take care of all the dishes because my wife usually cooks, and I go ahead and do all the dishes, and then go to
A
bed.
fellow
And
dishwasher. All right.
exactly, all
Yes.
right, all day, baby, all day, and I'm happy to do it too. But then by the time like when it's a late night like that, I'm
hmm
hitting the sack by like 11:45 and then having to wake
Yeah.
back up at 5:30. So again,
Yeah, that's not easy.
it's not, and I'm not trying to make any excuses, but like
No, all good.
it's a lot, man. Like I
Yeah,
just need
man.
people to understand, like, Tormenting Tarmac can sometimes, I feel like, I don't think it's aged
Weighs
me,
on you.
but it weighs on me, no
There
doubt,
you
bro.
go.
It
Yeah.
weighs on me 100%, but I love doing it. I love doing
Yeah.
it. I love having
It's-
conversations with you and all these other individuals. So it ends
yeah,
up
I mean,
working out really great.
and yeah, and you've talked with a handful of just amazing individuals. So, I mean,
Oh,
to
thanks.
do that and congrats on 200 episodes. That's
Oh, thank you,
huge.
bro.
I mean, just to be able to do that 200 times, let alone 10 times, is impressive. With me, like, I feel like if I were to start a podcast, which I've considered so many times, but
Mm.
I feel like if I were to start a podcast, I'd probably do three and then be like, oh, our schedule doesn't work. And then it wouldn't happen for a year. But you've
So
just been consistent and it's
it's
impressive.
listen, let me tell you something. It's hard. It is hard. It's not
Yeah.
it's not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of consistency. It's also being like, it's like staining yourself, like, starting
Yeah.
from nothing. If you have connections, like in your case, you have connections and whatnot, like that, it works out somewhat. It's like somewhat a little bit easier, but it's really
hmm
not, because you got to keep pushing. And myself and Jay Fenning and Devonte Mack, shout out to the both of them, who also are fellow podcasters in the city. We did an episode like not too long ago, and we talked about like what it takes to be able to go ahead and do this on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And also, but the more important thing is, dude, like, freshening up, like having fresh ideas and fresh conversations with a variety of different people, and everything, because not everybody's the same. Not everybody likes the
Yep.
same thing. Not
Yep.
everybody's a photographer. Not everybody's this or that within the automotive
Yep.
space. And so, like, having ball knowledge of like a lot of different things is, and I'm not saying that I have ball knowledge in any way, shape, or form. But what I'm saying is, like, at least being appreciator of so many things, and then let's turn that into like a multifaceted conversation.
hmm
um it's a daunting task sometimes, dude.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie.
And
um
I can relate to that too, because when it comes to doing the setup ahead of meeting with the client, or for in your case meeting with the guest, it's a
yeah.
lot of, you got to do some research, you got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're talking about, you got to make sure you know what they need. And then also, like, when it comes to me, when I'm doing my photography, which bulk of what I do is single photo shoots. I'm making sure that the client has a location that they like, or if they have an idea that they're getting a location that fits what they're looking for, because they're the one ultimately paying for the photos.
Sure.
And so sometimes I'm driving around the valley. Sometimes I'm driving not to go anywhere in particular, but just to location scout. And I
Sure.
mean, you pull up my Google Maps, I've got over 100 locations in the valley where I've photographed cars, but I don't do the same spot more than 3 times in a row or twice in a row. So I try to give it some, the point is that there's a lot of setup in order to get to uh you know what you're after. Like there's a lot of setup, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, the words are escaping me, but you
No,
get
no,
it.
no. I completely understand where you're coming from. And interestingly enough, you are one of the very few of the photographers that I've had on this podcast that is a photographer. What I mean by trade is literally your full-time job is being a photographer. A lot of our
Yeah.
photographer friends that we know, they are photographers and whatnot, and they're extremely talented. But a lot of them, they do something else for a living, and then they go ahead and do this on they I shouldn't say on the side because they definitely go ahead and put in so much time into it, but you are
Yeah.
solely making the photography be your respective
Yeah.
sole income and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that is a
it's
choice in
it
in a very
is
specific in a very
it's a choice.
specific in a very specific
Yeah. Market.
market of the automotive
Yeah.
sector and
Yeah.
whatnot. How long have you been how remind me how long have you been doing it as your career?
Yeah, so full time, I've been doing photography since the about spring of 2024.
Okay.
But ahead of that, I was doing it part time since I started my business in January of 21.
Okay.
Just a little bit of backstory, because I didn't always expect to be a photographer. Growing up, I was always infatuated with cars, specifically the design of cars. Like,
Yeah.
if you were to like tell me the details about an engine, I'd be like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, I gotta go write that. I gotta go look that up so I know what he was talking about. So I was never much for like the nitty gritty, although I'm learning now, but that was never really my thing. I really love the design of cars. And so growing up, that was kind of something that's always been stuck as my one of my favorite things. So I could name a car, I played all the racing games, things like that. My parents tell me when I was really little, I was so shy. I would introduce myself talking about whatever Hot Wheel I had in my pocket. So I was always fascinated with cars, but for the longest time, I was a graphic designer.
Okay.
I went to college in CSU Monterey Bay. That's in California, specifically the Monterey area. I went to college there for graphic design.
Mhm.
I worked for a TV station for about a year out there, Central Coast, KSPW, which was like a NBC station. I was their graphic artist, did some freelance work for a while, and then moved back to Arizona because I was born and raised here. Moved back here in 2016 and couldn't really find my footing. I was feeling very lost. I was working a bunch of dead end jobs, also trying to do the graphic design thing freelance. And and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And at one point, one of my family members who's in the education sector said, "Hey, you can teach what you know." And I was like, "To college?" And they're like, "No, to high school." I was like, "Okay." So I did it. I invested in getting a teacher's certificate. Didn't have to back to college for it. I got a special certificate through a group called, or a organization called Career Technical Education, which is basically people with actual job skills can then go and teach their expertise. And I ended up finding within about 6 months of getting my certificate, I ended up finding a job with a high school out in North Phoenix in the Deer Valley area. And I taught there for 5 years. And through that experience of teaching, which had its highs and its lows, my first year ended in COVID. And second year
What
started
a time, bro.
online. And oh, what a time. It was. I have stories I could regale you, but that's for another podcast. Um, It taught me a lot of things. I made the mistake day one of telling my students I was a new teacher, and that was hell for 3 months until they figured out, oh, this is actually a cool teacher. Let me just throw him some respect a little bit. But it taught me public speaking. It got me out of my introverted shell. It helped me to really see how to communicate with different types of people because, students are one thing, but parents are quite another monster, especially when they're obsessive and helicopter and all that. As a parent, you probably have dealt with a lot of that with schooling and all of that. So I'm sure you
Not
understand.
just
So no
that, but as a
offense.
son,
Yeah, so no offense to you as a parent, but parents can sometimes be murderous to teachers.
I can
Um,
imagine. And I'm sorry.
so
I
no,
try
it's
not to be.
okay. Nah, no apologies. But it allowed me to learn how to talk with different people, and through that, and when COVID opened back, or when COVID happened, we went into quarantine. I picked up my camera, which at the time was a film camera, a Canon AE1. Um, I picked up my film camera for the first time in 4 years or 5 years, and I was like, I need to do something with this. Maybe I do something automotive with this. And then I found out that there weren't many places to develop film, so I bought a Canon. Oh gosh, I can't even remember the model I had. I don't have it anymore, but I picked up a Canon DSLR. And as soon as, COVID let off and car shows were happening again, I started attending Highline Autos. And I met a lot of people, but I was still very, to put it lightly, this was in, end of 2020. I was still very new, still very fresh to going out there and trying to, make a name for myself. And thankfully, I got some photos in Highland Autos magazine for several months in a row, in their cars and coffee coverage section, which definitely gave me some confidence. And over the years that I was teaching up until the end of, well, rather spring of 2024, um, I was able to amass not only a network of different individuals in the car sector, but also get to become great friends with a lot of photographers,
Mhm.
some who had no trouble. Sharing their secrets. One I'm good friends with today, a guy goes by optics.jpg. You've heard of him.
I have.
His
Yeah.
name,
Shout out to him.
yeah,
I've met him a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
times. Yeah. At
he
the
he
vault.
want he wants to be on this podcast, even if he won't admit it. So I'm declaring right there he will be a future guest of yours at some point.
Valid. Fair
But
enough. Let's do it.
yeah, um, but yeah, became good friends with him. He shared a lot with me about how to do car photography because he was a few years ahead of me at the time that I met him. And now we're good buddies, and we go to Monterey every year and SEMA and all of that. And I met about a handful of. Sorry, my dog is scratching. Skylar, stop. I know you're
Yeah.
bored. Stop. Um, anyway, I met a handful of other great people, met a lot of people in the car sector, both those that sell and those that buy, and really got to figure out how, I was going to run a photography business. And so January 2021, I started part-time while I was also teaching. And that sort of merged with, not merged, it overlaid with what I was teaching because I was teaching graphic design. So I was teaching, photography, or I was teaching rather, sorry, Photoshop and Illustrator, Adobe products. But part of the Photoshop was that I had to teach how to edit photos. And it kind of was an opportunity for me to kind of show off a little bit
Mhm.
to my students. Not to say that I was just like, only showing my photos and not teaching anything. Of course, I managed to turn around the graphic design class at this particular school, managed to turn around from a class you take for an easy A to a challenging but creative class, and
That's
raised
cool.
the enrollment percentage in 4 years from a base of like 30%, where they were just trying to get students to take this class, to over 140% trying to sign up, and where they had to actually hire a second graphic design teacher at this school.
Oh, that's amazing. I
So
love
I'm
that. Congratulations, dude. That's
Thank
sick.
you.
Genuinely.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun experience. But in that, I got to also teach a few students about photography. And then they, generally wanted to know what I do for photography. So I started sharing my car photography at the time. And thankfully, now that I'm done teaching, I actually still stay in contact with some of my former students who are doing some amazing photography, whether it's automotive or other things. One of my former students, he's got a automotive and streetwear themed clothing brand. I'm gonna ping it here. It's called Revin, Revvn, Revin Clothing. Highly recommend going and checking it out. And
Free plug. Let's go.
yeah, free plug. I do photography for him from time to time for his clothing line, and highly recommend supporting him. But he's one of my former students that just took, what he learned and ran with it. And I'm very fortunate. I'm very thankful that I had experiences like that. But in, like I said, in all of that, because I'm rambling on. In all
Doing
of
great.
that, thank you. In all of that, I got to experience quite a lot on both sides as a teacher and as a photographer, and come to realize that photography could be a career for me. Now, granted, I knew that when I stopped teaching, I was losing a consistent paycheck. I knew that I was going to have to become my own everything, my own HR, my own admin, my own payroll, my own everything, which for the first year was tough, definitely tough. But I am thankful and blessed that this year has been return on return on return this year. And it's really the most progress I've had with my business yet. They say it takes like 3 years for a business to really take off. For me, it's been like three and a half, almost four, but now I'm seeing a lot. And thankfully, I'm getting a lot of return work. People are saying they've heard of me, they're reaching out, wanting work. So I'm thankful that I'm where I am now and that it's growing. But I'm also thankful I have a wife who is literally the breadwinner of our family. She has a fantastic job, where she's able to support our family. Although it's just her and I and our dog, but it's something where
That's a family.
that's helping. Yes, that's
Yeah.
helping at least. So
No, I love that.
yeah,
Shout out. Well, shout out to your wife. Huge shout out to your wife that because you
thank
love to
you.
see it because she's a lot. She's being incredibly supportive and maintaining you while you're also being able to go ahead and grow something from nothing into something completely, which uh you know in a time where the world is not the most easy place to go ahead and be able to accomplish all the things that you want to and whatnot. You are able to do that successfully
Yeah,
while your spouse is able to go ahead and still do her thing and be bringing being able to go ahead and support you, but you also show the
yeah,
consistent progress, like major progress. Because like it's one thing to go ahead and oh my spouse is the breadwinner and I'm doing my
yeah,
dream, but when you
yeah,
are doing shit with your dream, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
well, what are you doing? You're wasting time and things of that nature,
yeah.
and that is not the case for you. You are
Mhm.
doing your thing, and you love to see that. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will say of late, one of the blessings that because I don't know about you, but I'm a Christian. I believe, God is leading. This is his business. He's appointed me to it.
Yeah.
And he's shown me opportunity after opportunity after opportunity this year. One of those opportunities that I'm blessed to have right now is I'm doing work with Eurosport, which is why I'm wearing their
Yes.
hat. Eurosport, for those that don't know, is a shop up in North Phoenix that primarily works on and restores Land Rovers and Range Rovers, but they also work on pretty much anything European. And thankfully, it's I had one of those opportunities where I was able to talk with their sort of head photographer slash creative director, and a guy named Ryan Cordwell. And he said, I could use some help with photos that we need for the Bazaar, the Bazaar. They're sort of marketplace for selling cars that belong to either friends of the shop or members of their group. And so they said, yeah, if we could have you come in, once a week, photograph some cars, and then we'll pay you your standard rate, which has been fantastic. I've
That's
done
awesome.
two or three of those so far, with a couple more, and one of them I just posted the other day. It's a red Porsche Panamera that they're promoting now this new leaf for sale, and getting to go out and take pictures of that car was pretty phenomenal because I'm also able to like take it to a spot. And boy, it's there's something about a Porsche. Let's just say that.
Oh, no doubt.
Um,
Porsches
but
are
that's
a-okay
yeah.
in my book. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
But that's been a blessing and an opportunity that I've been able to do on contract with them recently. So
that's
yeah,
really cool. No, shout out to them
yeah,
because I always see that they have I think they hold like cars and coffee like,
they
was it once
do.
a month? Yeah, once a month.
Yeah,
I haven't,
roughly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't got a chance to check them out yet. I'd like to because
you need to.
every single time I see them on Instagram, I'm like, oh, they're kind of
Yeah,
cool. I really like the vibes that they go ahead and put
yeah.
out and everything like that. But um, really
Well,
quickly, I pricked up
yeah.
on something that you went ahead and said, and funny enough, I did something similar because you were talking
Hmm.
about when you went ahead and got out of college, your one of your
Hmm.
first jobs as a graphic designer, you went ahead and worked at an NBC affiliate in Central California.
Hmm.
Um, in a former life of mine, I worked in advertising, if you will,
Hmm.
for one of the ABC affiliates and for the ABC affiliate in Tucson, KGON 9.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
and I did that for probably like 8 or 9 months. Um, it was look, advertising ends up being sales. So instead of you being able to go ahead and focus on the creative portion of advertising, they really focus on the sales portion, which I totally understand. But at the same time, it kind of stinks because basically you're just trying to go ahead and get money out of people as opposed to go ahead and really giving an idea of how to
Yeah.
really express their business, or at least try to consistently get their business out there and whatnot. Because it was tough then in 2017. Um, to 2016 into 2017. The reason why it was so difficult is you're already starting to deal with streaming, right? Because
Hmm.
so live
Oh yeah.
television is becoming less of a thing. Cable is starting to
Hmm.
become a less of a thing. You've got all these
Yeah.
streaming services and everything like that. You had Netflix, you had Prime,
Hmm.
you had those are really the two. Hulu, obviously. Disney Plus
Yep.
wasn't a thing yet. Paramount Plus
Nope.
wasn't a thing yet. Peacock wasn't even a thing yet. So you're still dealing, and hell, not even HBO Max. You're dealing with that. You're dealing with cable struggling and things of that nature. And I
Mhm.
remember being really excited about it, but then at the end of the day, realizing this isn't for me because it's the consistent sale aspect as opposed to the creativity and whatnot.
Yep.
However, I did really enjoy, for the most part, getting a chance to work at a TV station. And our
Hmm.
TV station also had a radio station attached to it as well.
Nice.
So, as you can imagine, my lust and love for radio slash podcasting
Yeah.
exponentially grew, knowing the fact that that was right over there and whatnot. And so that's
So
kind of
cool.
where I started to like. I had a love for podcasting, a love for radio for a really long time, but it was there that I became friends with the guy that did traffic reports. Shout out to
Nice.
Jim Edwards. He passed away a few years ago, but he
Mm.
was the one that, according to him, he thought that I could do some radio. Now we're doing a podcast 200 episodes in. Shout out to
It,
Diamond Jim. May he rest in peace.
it
That's
it
my
it
guy.
starts with one.
It starts with
It's
one. And
it
then
starts with one.
and so when you brought that up, I was like, it just kind of brought up those cool memories and everything like that. And even every once in a while, I think to myself, I'm like, man, it would have been sick to go ahead and stay over there. But if I would have stayed over there, I would have wanted to go ahead and move into more of a creative thing.
Hmm.
Or like actually move away from sales in general and actually get into the journalistic aspect and everything like that from the graphic design. So you were doing like graphic design for like whether it was local commercials or like the newscast. Is that some of the stuff that you worked on back in the day?
Yeah, roughly it was stuff for their social media,
Yeah.
namely
Mm-hmm.
Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
doing banners for any events that they went to,
Yep.
and doing occasional animations in After Effects. But yeah, that was pretty much the bread and butter. Oh, and also, the staff or talent photography, and then editing all the blemishes off their faces and things of that sort.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but that was it.
Newscasters and reporters, they're all very interesting individuals. Some of them are
Yeah,
extremely kind. Actually,
yeah,
the majority of them are, because
yeah,
they don't look at themselves as somebody who's on TV. They look at themselves as like, I'm a journalist, and
yeah.
they really enjoy being able to go ahead and do, whether it's investigative reporting
Hmm.
or focusing on a story and things of that nature
Yep.
and whatnot. And then at the same time, you get to the news anchors, and the news anchors 9 times out of 10 end up being super kind people,
Yeah.
and not and you would think to yourself, oh well, yeah, they're focused, like especially in a small community. Obviously you talked about it
Mhm.
was Central California, so Central California has a
Yeah.
a large variety of small communities
Yeah.
compared to like Southern California and Northern California, where you have LA, Orange County, San Diego, and then
Hmm.
up
Hmm.
top you have San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are big metropolises in California.
Yeah.
Central California is not like that, Avi.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yes.
and so
If
yeah,
yeah, if I may, so like the
please.
station that I worked at, KSPW and Central Coast ABC, so it was an NBC and ABC station. They covered Monterey, they covered Seaside, Carmel, Pacific Grove, the general area for anything Monterey, but then also covered all the farming towns like Gilroy and I'm blanking Gilroy and I'm blanking on all of them now, but basically Hollister, all of the farming towns out there,
Oh, is it
Salinas,
Salinas?
um,
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Freckles. Yeah, they
I was
covered
looking
all
for a
that.
hotel in Salinas, and there is no freaking hotels in Salinas.
No, not very, not very. But yeah, so that's kind of starting there was nice, but I kind of learned that that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, which is like as I started teaching, like I said, I was like, you know what, maybe I also try this photography thing out, and it's it combines my love of the art of automotive and being able to express my creativity.
Which I love to see, dude. It's really good, and
Yeah.
obviously your photography speaks for itself and whatnot. Um, you shoot a relative wide range of cars, and
Hmm.
everything like that, and I think you do an exceptional job everywhere and everything like that. Is there anything in particular that you love bringing to life behind the lens? Is
Ooh.
there like do you prefer the current gen sports cars slash supercars? Is it more classics? Is it JDM? Like where does Matt Engdahl's love lie the most?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If you had asked me when I was starting out, I would have said classic muscle, only because for the longest time, my all-time favorite car was a 69 Pontiac GTO Judge.
Nice.
And that was the kind of unicorn car until I eventually saw one during Car Week. And I was like, this is cool, but what about that thing?
Yeah.
Um, so for me, primarily my love of automotive is mostly centered around sort of classic European and JDM style.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of Datsun. I'm a big fan of. I didn't always used to be a big fan of Porsche, but I'm sort of Porsche's growing on me. But I'm a big fan of Porsche, and I do love classic BMW. But yeah, basically where I'm set at is like it's between classic, Datsun, Porsche. Um, yeah, that's kind of the classic European and classic JDM is kind of my strong suit. But I'll photograph anything that goes. That's kind of my
Sure.
slogan recently is I photograph anything that goes. So
I love
if
that.
it's got a motor and it goes, then I'm there.
Cool, man. You mentioned Datsun, so I take it like 240Zs, 280Zs,
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, in fact, can't say much, although the car is in public eye now, even though it's not finished. But I've got a car that I'm going to be photographing soon, which is I believe it's either I think it's either a 240 or 280. I'm pretty sure it's a 280, but they've got a 280Z mod that is going to be unlike anything that has been done with a 280Z. And when that car is done, which will be soon, I'm looking forward to getting that photo set done and sharing it with the world because it's been a long time coming. This I've been working with doing the process photos for this company, and it's been just over a year that they've been working on that. Well, 2 years actually that they've been working on this car. So it'll be fun to see, and it's definitely gonna surprise a lot of people. Let's just say that.
No, that's cool. I mean, as a fan of the Z32 300ZX, you're never gonna
Hmm.
go ahead and hear me disrespect any old Datsuns and old Nissans
Hmm.
and whatnot. I do love me some of those and whatnot. OG Skylines, obviously. You just
Hmm.
what a run
Yeah.
they went on back in the day, and all the way up until like the late '90s with the late '90s into the early 2000s, obviously with the R34, and then
Hmm.
it was just yeah, Nissan.
Yeah.
It's not that it has my heart as a brand. It's just the cars that they were making in that time frame were really, really special.
Yeah.
Just overall, like everything that was coming out of Japan during that time was really, really special, and they made some really, really cool cars. We brought up Monterey a couple times. You went there for college. You went ahead and lived there for a little bit while after college and whatnot. But you talked about the photograph in the background. That's of Monterey that I think you said you took. Was it
Yeah.
last year or the year before? Last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Okay.
So this picture I took, I'll duck a second now. So the photo that I took, this was out by Bigsby Bridge along PCH and Big Sur.
Okay.
Yeah, so the time frame that I lived in Monterey was from '09. So I finished high school there, went to college, lived out there for a little bit. I moved back here in 2016. So about a 9 year, 8.5, 9 year period. And so during that time, getting to experience Car Week, for example, as a bystander was one thing. But now experiencing it as a photographer is like, it like opened so many doors. It's a
Mhm.
totally different event. And thankfully, I'm going again this year, here in just next week. And I'm looking forward that thankfully this year I've got media for just about everything, which is kind of a first. Some years I had media to some things and not others, and this year I've just like it's like everyone's like approved, 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 which has been awesome. So I'm super thankful for that.
I love that.
Some big things I'm looking forward to this year. Laguna Seca Rolex Reunion of Motorsport. Mazda Racing is bringing back the world famous 787B, and all of their racing legends to go around Laguna Seca. There is. Oh gosh, let's see. Sotheby's is going to be showing off a whole suite of just amazing vehicles for their auction, and we can touch on this a little bit later. But they have a relationship with Ferrari where they've been doing year after year. They've been doing like sort of a how do I explain it?
Like a charity car.
Yeah, charity car. Yeah. So last year was the 26 out of 25 SP3 that was in tailor made to the black and yellow livery that was super
The
unique. It went for 20 million
$26 million Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Who
Yeah.
could
So
forget?
do you want to? I got the scoop on what it's going to be this year. Do you want to guess what it's
Oh,
going to
I
be this year?
know. I know.
Oh, you know.
I ended up finding
Do
out.
do we want to let the audience know?
I think a lot of the audience has found out, but we should talk about that right now because I had a couple of
Yeah.
friends talk about it on their respective podcasts. Shout out to that car
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Um, Ferrari thought this is
Mhm.
Ferrari's
And
mindset.
and I want to have a disclaimer. Ferrari, we don't hate you. We love you, Ferrari. We know you're just doing this because you wanted to make an EV. So please don't cancel us.
Okay. Well, Matt Engdall said that. Well, Jorge Aquino might have some thoughts. Um, so they thought it was a good idea to say we're going to do the VIN 001 of the brand new Ferrari Luce,
Mm-hmm.
which is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
That is and
And
on in their
and it's tailor made and valued at over $1.1 million.
right. So bidding starts at a milli plus,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I
And it's in
am.
a one-off color apparently.
It's like it's white, if I'm not mistaken. It's like
Yeah, but
propane white.
yeah, well, it's in a variant of white, which I don't know how many variants there are now, but it's apparently in a variant of white that is unique and it's not available on any other Ferrari.
Right. Listen,
Right.
man. I've I have said
Yeah.
I've made some comments over these last couple of months
Yeah.
regarding this car. Uh, I will once more reiterate:
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with an EV, and I don't even have a problem with Ferrari making an EV. That's not my issue. Like, I
No,
get it. Like, I don't mind an
no.
EV. I think that we can
Yeah.
all live in harmony with petrol cars and hybrids and
Hmm.
EVs. All of them can be out on the road simultaneously. We can all be sharing the roads, and it'll be
Yeah.
great. It's just
Yeah.
what suits your lifestyle. An
Yeah.
EV could possibly suit my lifestyle, but I'm not ready to make that move yet.
I tried
Um,
it. It's not for me. That's a long
and
that's a long story for another time.
Sure, sure, but like, and maybe, and honestly, I'll probably, maybe I could do it, and it probably might be for me. Maybe it will. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it
Yeah.
yet, but I want to make it clear, I don't have a problem with Ferrari making an EV. Where my problem lies is they made one of the, and I mean it. This is, you can take this, and I've
You
said it.
heard
I
it
don't
here
care.
first.
It's one of the ugliest cars I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well,
And people, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, well, they pulled a guy from Apple that was going to be designing
It
the
was
Apple
the
car.
Apple car, which is what
And
this is
and
based on.
if
Yes,
you look at it, especially with the color that they've got for it at RM Sotheby's, which I don't knock RM Sotheby's, I'm sure Luce wasn't their first choice, but then again, it's Ferrari.
it's not. This
Um,
is not on RM Sotheby's.
oh, I know,
Yeah,
but if you look at it, it looks like a Mac mouse.
it looks like a Mac. Period. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I 100%. You nailed it. It's the color of like a Mac screen, like the
yeah,
big, like the
Magic
big screen
Mouse.
for it. Correct.
Yeah,
Like, I'm on my Mac right now. I have the traditional silver one and
yeah,
whatnot, but like the big one, like the Mac computer, usually comes like in a white, and that's what this car looks like. And it's interesting. A lot of people have said this car would be fine if it was like a Kia or a Hyundai or some generic brand and things of that
yeah,
nature. And
yeah.
I'm here to say, nope, nope. It would be ugly as hell if it was a Kia or a Hyundai. Like, this is just an ugly. This to me has been an ugly car. Period, from the very beginning. It really has been.
Yeah.
I'm not a.
When
I'm,
when they teased the interior, I was like, this is actually interesting. Like
which
I
makes
thought
me
it was,
mad, right?
yeah, yeah, but it is what it is.
It is what
So
it is.
yeah. So RM's got the Luce, right? There are a couple of other cars that are projected to be in the county during Car Week this year. But yeah, I hear you about the Luce. It's a little silly, but I
Well,
feel
it's just
like it's
interesting
been
to go from.
so, obliterated.
Well, it's just interesting to go from an SP3 to the Luce. It's just
Yeah.
like, that's weird. Like, why not? And by the way, not that this car is very good looking in any way, shape, or form, but
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I would assume that it's a lot more desirable. But why not do
Hmm.
VIN 001 for the 849? Why not do that? And I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
You could.
That's a quote unquote regular production. It's the successor to the SF90, but it's
Right.
still, they're not going to go ahead and make they're going to make a lot, but they're not going to go ahead and make like 50,000
Mm-mm.
cars, right?
Mm-mm.
But like,
Mm-mm.
why not do that? That to me would have been a whole hell of a lot more compelling than doing the Luce,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
better yet, genuinely, why not do VIN 001 of the DJ Cilindri Manuale? That
There you go.
that to me, that to me would have been way better.
I agree. On that note,
Hmm.
what do you think about how, I mean, subtly, but you saw Christian von Koenigsegg kind of called out Ferrari on their new manual
Yeah,
system.
I really
What
haven't
do you
talked
think
about it
about
on the
that?
podcast. Now that I think about it, I haven't talked about it on the podcast because I think it came out after I had recorded basically all the episodes that I need to get to and whatnot. So this is the first time that we get a chance to talk about it right now. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Um, it's been about a month since it
yeah,
got
roughly.
announced. I think
Yeah,
it was a Fourth of July weekend.
yeah.
Um, and I've had some time to simmer on it. I'm of the.
I'll say this,
Go ahead.
there's a lot on the different sides, but when CVK made the video saying like, hey, it's interesting that 4 years after we invented this, that some people are getting in on the idea, but good luck shifting from second to fifth with no clutch and no, with no holdup or anything. And obviously he didn't say Ferrari, but it's obvious that he was just like,
Sure.
hey, good luck trying to beat this guy, you know.
Right. So, well, I don't think that Ferrari. Okay, I'm going to say a couple of things. One, I don't
Okay.
think that like first they have a clutch. They have a clutch pedal.
Yeah.
So, according to Ferrari, in order to go ahead and maneuver the gear lever through the new Manuale DCT setup,
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
to. My understanding is you have to put down the clutch pedal in order for the lever to move from shifting to from wherever you want to,
Yeah.
and then you can move it on over to automatic, and the car can and you can drive it automatic and
Yeah.
everything like that. I don't think Ferrari is looking at Koenigsegg saying they're our competition. Ferrari is
Oh, no,
so
no.
narrow-minded, whether it's to its detriment or not to its detriment, that I'm gonna this is my personal opinion. I don't think they
Sure.
give a damn about Koenigsegg.
No, I
Like
don't think they do either.
I don't think they do. I
No.
think their customers and their clients are different, but
Yeah.
Ferrari doesn't care. I don't think
No.
they care. I feel still to this day that
Yeah.
Ferrari leadership
Hmm.
doesn't think that they have any equal, that they are still the creme de la creme. They're wrong, but that's what they believe. I firmly believe that that's what they believe. And
That's
so
fair.
when CVK says something like that, I don't think Ferrari gives two damns.
No, probably not.
And
But it makes for a good case. Obviously,
oh, it doesn't make it makes for
CVK's
a great case.
yeah, obviously CVK is, just obviously showcasing this incredible design that he's made. I mean,
And by the way,
all
to Ferrari's
yeah, go
credit, they
ahead.
also had this patent a while ago that just happened to
Yeah.
be that they probably pushed it forward quicker because of
Hmm.
probably the response to the Luce and because of the
Yeah,
stocks going down a little bit. But
absolutely.
to their credit, I believe that they had this patent a long time ago. Even if
It's
it
very
was after
possible.
Koenigsegg, they would
Yeah.
be the second. They would be the second company to try and do this. So it's not like everybody else and their mother has tried to do what Koenigsegg did.
No,
Um,
yeah.
Ferrari's going to be the first one. Ferrari will probably try and outdo what Koenigsegg has done. So it's
Yeah.
to remain to be seen. But I guess to answer the question,
Hmm.
when it first came out, I was like, "That's not a real manual. It's not a real manual.
No.
Like you could have just gone ahead and put a real 6 speed in there, and you would have been
Yeah.
perfectly fine and
Yeah.
whatnot." But
Yeah.
it takes a lot of research and development. It takes a ton of money.
Yeah. And I
It,
I think I think too that is where some people, they see it at face value, but there is so much R&D and engineering that goes into trying to make this happen. And this is, it may have been done before, but this is new for Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken.
very, very
And
new
I
for
think
Ferrari.
that
Yes.
is, I think that is definitely commendable that they are, trying all of these different things. Now, granted, are they trying too much? Yes, I think so. I think Ferrari in recent years, especially since they said, oh, they would never make an SUV, they made an SUV. They may not call it an SUV, but they made an SUV.
It's an
Oh, they
SUV.
would never make it. Yes, an SUV. They would never make an EV. They made an EV. The world hates it, whatever. But, I think Ferrari definitely still has that worldwide credibility, that Enzo, made it as famous, all of this stuff. I think Ferrari is just trying a little too much right now to stand out. All they need to do is make a handful of great cars and sell them. And I think what they're doing with like the tailor-made stuff is fantastic. Don't think they need to be trying all of these new things to get their name out there. Like, yeah, you're right. They probably unveiled the Manuale because of the drop in stock after the Luce, know.
Yeah.
Um, but I think if anybody, I think Ferrari is like, hey, let's see what hits. I feel like they're kind of doing the trial reel thing on
Which they
Instagram and being
shouldn't
like,
because you're Ferrari. That's the problem right there.
exactly,
I think you nailed it.
exactly. Yeah.
They're definitely doing that. You're not
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't have to when you're Ferrari.
No.
Ferrari Ferrari used to be the trendsetter, and now they're following the trends,
Hmm.
and it's becoming problematic to me.
Yeah.
Um, whether or not anybody wants to agree with me, I think most people will probably agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with whether or not they created that the pura sangue, whether or not they created the luce.
Yeah.
Again, I just went on an entire thing saying I have no problem with Ferrari having an EV. That's not the
Hmm.
problem that I have.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
my problem is that the EV that they finally decided to make is ugly as sin. On top of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
um I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like, so obviously, 812 is no longer their V12. It is the digital injury. If you were to
Hmm.
ask me, Jorge,
Which is a
what it
beautiful car, in my opinion.
which one, the
The
digital
Dodochi
injury?
Cylindri. Yeah.
Um, the
I think
digital
it's a
injury to
beautiful
me,
car.
I've heard a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's very split. You either love
Yeah.
it or
Oh,
you're
yeah. Oh, I know.
right. I
Yeah.
fall on the side that doesn't love it, but I have
Hmm.
seen it in specs where it's not dual colored, where it's
Hmm.
one single color, and the one single color cars are millions of times better looking than multicolored panels. Case
Hmm.
in point, I believe it's Bowden Outa House. Is that what it is? Their Instagram account
Yeah, I think
put
so.
put wheels and an exhaust on an all black spec Dodici
Yeah.
Cylindri.
Yeah.
Wow, is that a looker?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous car. And to Ferrari's credit, even, and this is about to go ahead and go against what I just stated, the press car that they used for the Manuale announcement,
Hmm.
that spec is gorgeous. I
Yeah.
will give them that.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but my
nice.
my problem is that the digital Inri is a very hit or miss car, and some
Yeah.
angles of it I still hate.
That's
Um,
fair.
that's my personal opinion. I don't hate the car, but there are angles about it that I don't like, and it's.
Mhm.
I get that there's and yourself included, a lot of people say that's the most beautiful Ferrari that's come out in quite some time, and I'm like, you're entitled to that opinion. I think the F12 Berlinetta is much better looking. I think the A12 is much better
Agreed.
looking, and
Agreed. I'm,
the A12 market is obviously showing what the
yeah.
heck is going on right now with
Yeah.
egregious numbers on A12s and on A12
Yeah.
GCSs. By the way, it's
Yeah.
not including competitions or
Yeah.
competiciones. These are
Yeah.
regular A12 super passes,
Hmm.
super fasts, excuse me, and A12 super and A12 GTSs that are holding at
Yeah.
6, 7. There was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say 6, 7, 600,
It's
700,
okay.
700,000, eight hundred
Yeah.
thousand. I'm seeing a dealership that tried, I think that they failed, but tried to sell a GTS at over 1 million. If you're buying a GTS at over 1 million, I think that you should. I hope you lose all your money. I really do because you're an idiot to be paying 1 million plus on a GTS. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing.
Mhm.
Ferrari is one thing, but can we talk about the number of resto mods that are out and appearing all over the internet right now?
Yeah, yeah, we can. Sure.
So I'm following at least three or four different groups, and there are some amazing builders out there that are producing some
Yes.
reimaginings. Obviously, there's Singer and they're well established, and then there's Gunther Works, and that's kind of the Porsche era. Um, I want to talk to you briefly about have you heard of 1511?
Yes, I have.
So they produced, and they brought it, they announced it at Monterey last year. They announced a 914 restaurant that they
Mhm.
built, and now they're set to unveil something new. I don't know if you saw the video, but you should definitely go check it out. They
I will
revealed
have
stuff,
to.
they're set to reveal something that appears to be that it's going to have something to do with snakeskin, which
Okay.
I'm very curious about.
I remember,
Um,
if I'm not mistaken, 1511 also did like a 550 resto mod a few years back, right? A 550 Spider.
Probably,
Yeah.
yes. And then there's another group, if you heard of, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, Nardone. They're from France. They have a 928 that they
Oh,
have built as well and announced it last year at Monterey. I'm just amazed really by all of the different companies that are doing all of these different restaurants. Now you've got Dodge, well, not Dodge, but shoot, who is it? Well, Dodge has sort of teased that they're going to be doing a new Super B. which kind of blows my mind.
Like
Mm,
the truck. Oh yes, the Super B. Yes, I saw it. Sorry, I was getting it
yeah,
confused with the Rumble B. I did see that. Yes, I did. I saw it
yeah,
yesterday. Date of
yeah.
recording today is July the 29th. This episode, I think, is going to go ahead and go out. This might go out during car week, actually, or right before car week.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Um,
I'm just impressed with all of these different companies that are like, hey, we're making this car. Hey, we're doing that. Like, I'm blanking on the name of the company, but there's a company that's taking the Audi. Shoot, they're doing the Audi.
TT,
No, not the TT.
because there is somebody that's doing a resto mod on a TT, by the way.
That's awesome because I love the Audi TT. For a while, that was the car I thought was like if I could afford that, I'd made it. That was sort of my made it car for a while back there. Let me see. That's I've saved it recently. Sorry for the dead air here a minute.
You're good.
I know a thing or two about dead air and how much it sucks.
You're
Let's
good,
see, let's
man.
see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Here it is. A company called HSR is
Okay.
doing their take on an Audi Sport Quattro, and it's not going to show, but this is
Oh,
it
there it is. I see
here.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're doing their take on an Audi Sport Quattro, and those they're specifically focusing on the Group B era of the with the Type 5 859, and just the specs that they're putting into it are nuts. HSR
Sure.
Manufacturer is the company,
I mean,
but like,
There's also Camara doing the
yeah, Camara,
037s.
yes. Oh, and Camara working with Koenigsegg with the Koenigsegg engines.
Yeah,
You heard
that should
about
be kind of
that?
wild.
Yeah,
That's going to be
that's
pretty freaking wild.
that's incredible how they're
Yeah.
like, hey, Koenigsegg, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Camara. Gosh, who else? Of course, there's I mean, it's not really a Resto mod, but Apollo with the new Evo.
Mhm.
Um, God, just it's
Well, there's other ones. There's also like Borum Motorworks who are doing
mhm.
a resto mod on a Ford Escort, and like
Yes,
it's like a
yes.
absolute ripper and a half of a car. There's
And
that.
it's continuation VINs too. So they're continuing
Yes.
off of, and then of course there's also like Super Performance, which has the exclusive from Shelby to make the new Shelby Daytonas and the Shelby Cobras,
Hmm.
and the Shelby
And
GT
Ford GT 40s.
40s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
or
that.
GT 40s.
There's also the F355 Evoluto from Evoluto,
Hmm. Yep.
which the press car that made its rounds over in Los Angeles that Zach Clappen and Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire had and Johnny Lieberman drove, which
Yeah.
was the red, like burnt orange, almost red car with the gold wheels.
Hmm.
Like car was sex. Can't even deny it.
Yeah. I'm.
And there's a lot
Yeah.
of resto mod companies.
Hmm.
There is not there's a few that do it really really well. Obviously, Singer and Gunther Works are leading the way with a couple of others as well and whatnot. But like, let me tell you someone who I am not necessarily the biggest fan of, and
Okay.
I think it's the I forget their name, but whoever it was that went ahead and thought it was a good idea to resto mod the Ferrari 550 Maranello. That the
I'll
one
look
that
it up.
just went the one that just came
Yeah.
up like a month ago. The Ferrari 550 and the Ferrari 575 for that matter are really, really, really beautiful grand tours. Like really, really beautifully done. Um, the 599 I think struggles from where the 550 and 575 left because of the rear end really
Are
hunched
you
up and whatnot. But it's still a good looking car. But the 550 and the
are you
570,
are you talking about Super Leggera or Super
that's
Leggera?
those are the guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I saw their Veloce 12 last year
yeah, they had it
in
in Monterey last
Monterey.
year. That's right.
That was incredible, but I thought for some reason I don't know why I thought that they were part of Ferrari. I got that way wrong. Obviously, they're their own company, but yeah, just it's just incredible to me. I'm blown away by how many companies now are taking these cars, and even there's a company that's redoing Diablos.
Yes.
What's their company?
It starts with a V. Um, I know who you're talking about. And additionally, on top of that, Curated in Miami is also redoing Diablo 6.0s, I think.
Eccentrica.
Eccentrica, that's the one. I don't know why I
They're
said
they're
V.
doing they're doing it's okay. They're doing the V12 reimagining of the Diablo.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
remember
I'm just
seeing it.
impressed. Yeah.
That the Eccentrica, I think, looks kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
it does look kind of cool. I will give them that. I
Yeah.
dig it. But me as a guy who grew up in the times of a Diablo going into a
Hmm.
Mercy, I look at a Diablo and I'm like, it's kind of perfect as it is.
I
Like
get it. I mean, heck,
all iterations of the entire 10-year plus run, they're kind of all perfect.
yeah, I mean, heck, Diablo. There was, I believe it was last year, Lamborghini Diablo won Best in Class for yeah, Best in Class at Pebble Beach. So
Probably.
now it's considered a retro sports car,
Yep. I mean, it's
even
30
though
years
it, you
old
know,
from at least from when
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So it just blows my mind that now Pebble Beach, Concours d'Elegance, is considering a Lamborghini Diablo a retro sports car, yes, it is. But the fact that it could win Best in Class at the Concours d'Elegance, I mean, this is known for century-old cars.
Sure.
That impresses me. I'm just I think the thing that really gets me is I can't keep up with it all.
Neither
Like
can I.
there are so many companies that are like, "Hey, let's just go ahead and take this car that hasn't been made for, 30, 40 years and let's do a resto mod of it." And they're just doing it. And
Yeah.
whether
And
they have all the permissions in the world or not, I don't know, but they're just doing it. And a lot of them are doing it well. And it just impresses me. And I think I'm just going to say one more thing. I think the main car companies like Ferrari, for example, are seeing that and they're thinking, okay, we're not against this, but how do we become more in like forward in the public eye? And I think that's why they're trying too much to stand out back to that conversation.
sure. Well, it's funny that you went ahead and say that because I see where you're coming from. I think that I agree with you. I think a lot of people are doing it well, but there's also a lot of people who aren't doing it very well. Like,
Yeah,
there are some crap jobs and the amount of money that they're charging for some of these cars. It's like, oh man, you're charging that
insane.
much and this is what you went ahead and put out. Like, kick
Yeah.
rocks, bro. But
There's
like,
there's a there's a company that showcased at the Radwood event, which was the same company by Concorso Italiano last year, that you give them a James Bond style Aston Martin DB5 from the '60s, and they turn it into uh, replica James Bond machine with working smoke screen and machine gun sounds. But
oh,
you
the
have
one
to
from No Time to
donate.
Die. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you have to donate this car to have it be completely, flipped. Which I feel like, why?
No. Nope.
No, I'd rather just drive the
Nope.
car as it is.
Exactly. Like, and that's the other thing is that we're getting too many people, and I get it. People have all the money in the world, and they say like, "Well, I want the car to do this and do that," but I also, why don't you just drive the car as is, like in not in period, but like that's what makes this car be relatively special. If you feel the need that you have to go ahead and better that car,
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gatekeeping. I want to be really careful about that.
Yeah.
sounding like a angry old man and whatnot. And I'm not trying, and I'm not meaning to, but it's just like
No, not at
there's
all.
too much of it going on where too many people have. In the words of Nicolas Cage, it's in Gone in 60 Seconds. It's like, yes, yes, this is the car. This is the one that saw in front of the Starbucks this morning, and that just tells me two things. What is it? I can't.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to. Hang on.
Well, I'll have once more. I'll have to. I'm going to overlay it on the audio side and
Yeah,
whatnot. But it
yeah,
just says this guy. At the end of the set, he says it's just people have too much bloody money.
yeah, yeah,
And it's true. People have too much freaking money, and they're like, oh well,
yeah.
I want to go ahead and change this or change that. It's like, yo, dude, just freaking drive the car as is. And if you
Yeah.
want to go ahead and buy the car and you want to make tweaks in here and there, that's fine. But to completely say, oh, I want it completely modernized and things of that nature, I'm like, then you know what, dude? I guess. But like at the same
Yeah.
time, then you're not going to get the real experience of what was a Lamborghini Diablo from like
Mm-mm.
91, 92 through 01. Or you're not going to get
Yeah.
the experience of what was an F355. Damn
Yeah.
sure not going to go ahead and get the experience of a 550 Maranello.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
or for anybody out there, like you want to make a singer, cool. But like, I think a 964 is fantastic as is. So it's
Yeah.
just like, and again, I'm coming across as this old man, but it's just, I don't know, Matt. I'm getting so tired. You know what it is? You know what it is?
What is it?
When I was growing up, and as I continue to go ahead and go out throughout life, you have a certain expectation that once you go ahead and finally make it to some point, you think to yourself,
Hmm.
okay, I've saved up enough money and I'm ready to go ahead and buy this car at whatever price that I
Hmm.
can. And instead,
Hmm.
what ends up happening is because people are manipulating the market, or on top of
Hmm.
that, these resto mods are buying up these really great examples to go ahead and completely change them up or completely cut them up and
Yep.
things of that nature. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, this money that I had saved up that I thought was going to be enough to go ahead and buy this car is no longer enough to buy this car. And
Yeah.
so, and it ends up being these like there's a variety of different owners that are out there. There's a lot of owners that
Hmm.
are actually guys that drive their cars, guys and gals that drive their
Yeah.
cars and love them as is and things of that nature, and they just want to go ahead and make
Yeah.
something better. But then there's the other people who go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and pay all this money, wait all
Mhm.
this time. Once it gets there, I'm never going to touch it.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna sit in my garage
it's going to
forever.
sit in my
I'm only
garage,
gonna
and then I'm
bring it
going to go
out
ahead
once a year.
yep. And then, or I'm going to go ahead and sell it and flip it or something. And it's just like, I'm sick of it.
That's
I'm
that's
sick of
why
not
when
being. I
yeah,
saw a Tiptronic 964 for
yeah,
craps and giggles. I looked it up yesterday because I said to myself, how cool would it be to buy a 964
yeah,
Tiptronic as a
yeah,
beater? And I was
yeah,
like, it's got to be anywhere somewhere between the 40 and the $50,000 mark, which I'm like, it's
yeah,
still a lot of money, but it's like, okay, it makes sense what the market is and whatnot. Man,
yeah.
when I tell you I was seeing that stuff at like above 90, I almost threw my phone through the window.
Well, I will say it's quite something, and I think when it comes to this, I think it's like now with social media, of course, social media, anything can be seen at any time. Now we're getting to see all these projects that people are doing, and it's just spurring on more projects. Granted, they're not all bad, but now it spurs on a lot of one-offs that are like,
Mhm.
who's going to use this? Like when, like something that I saw recently that's absolutely ridiculous that I don't know how it works is like at Alt Race when the Jägermeister BMW was unveiled, where it's got a Ducati for each wheel. Like, who's gonna drive that? Why did you make it? Because you could? Okay.
Yeah.
Like
That's
things
the
like that.
thing. Just because you can make it doesn't mean that we should.
Yes. Here's the thing. One thing that I enjoy and enjoy hearing is when people say, I buy a car to drive it. They're not concerned about it being an investment. They're not worried about flipping it once it hits 500 miles. They buy a car to drive it. And when I hear people talking about that, I'm thinking, yes, that is who I want to be. When I have made it and I have bought my car, I am driving it into the ground. I do not, and not to say that I'm going to beat it up, but I'm going to drive the car and enjoy it. I'm not turning it in for an investment or a profit. I'm driving the car to enjoy it. And I think those are the best types of people that, I mean, yes, there's collectors and things like that, but I think the best type of people, especially those that I've worked with, are the ones that are like, I bought the car to drive it. I didn't buy the car to have it sit in my garage. You know, I know a guy who he daily drives his Porsche. He's got I'm blanking on it right now, but he's got yeah, he daily drives. I photographed it. He's got a 911 GT3 and he daily drives it. And he just
Mm.
drives it everywhere he goes. He drives it for work. Actually, it's sitting at the little pin. It's sitting at the top of my profile on my page. You go check it out at Matt Engdall photo underscore photo. But that was like the thing is like I bought this car to drive it. Before that, he had a BMW E30. He bought it to drive it. Unfortunately, he couldn't drive it very well in Arizona because it had no AC. But you get the idea. Like he's buying these cars to drive them, and that is something that I enjoy. There's another guy I photographed his car recently. It's granted it's completely different. It's a Mazda Miata, but he's got like this really exclusive wrap on it that he had bought from Inozatec. They were selling at SEMA last year, this brushed metal wrap that they had 5 rolls of. And he said, I'll buy the roll as long as you don't sell it to anybody else in Arizona. And I photographed that car and he daily drives it. And he's like, yeah, I got a couple of gashes now and things like that. But, he's happy to drive this car because it's something that stands out. People that drive their cars and don't just let them collect dust are the people I can get behind. Because if you respect the vehicle and you take good care of it, it's going to go far. I
I
can't
agree.
say that for everything. I can't say that for everything because I've got a friend he's had a brand new Volkswagen GTI for 3 months, and it's been in the shop for 2.5 months since he's had it, and he's battling VW with that. But you know,
I get
eh,
it. Yeah. So, I mean, crap happens, right? Stuff happens, and there's not
each
anything
their
you can
own.
do about it. And, thank God
Yeah,
for warranty. But yeah, I
yeah,
completely understand where you're coming from. But, as we go ahead and get to wrapping it up tonight, I did want to go
yeah.
ahead and ask you one thing, and then I do want to go ahead and
Mhm.
make sure that I touch upon something else for you. But as you get ready to go to Monterey, you obviously mentioned you're going to be over at Laguna Seca for Rolex reunion. Are you going to be
Yep.
going to the Quail as well on top of Pebble or
No, yeah.
not? Okay.
So quail is something that, as you know, tickets are very expensive,
Exponentially expensive
and to get
and going
media,
up
you
every
have
year.
yeah, and to get media, you really have to be somebody, especially since they have a group called Con Media running their media group, which I have things about Con Media, but I'm not gonna say any of them here. But that's the quail. I love the idea of the event and I understand the exclusivity of it. It's not anything I'm interested in. Like, I would much rather on a Friday morning, I would much rather go and attend the PCA free event, the Porsche Club of America free event, get to see some one-off Porsches that are incredible. 2 years ago, they had the car that summited they had the Porsche that summited a volcano. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but just look up the Porsche. It's like the mostly stock 911, and
Wasn't it a Dakar?
it wasn't a Dakar, although the Dakar was built after it.
Okay.
But it was styled like a Dakar, but the actual body was like a mostly stock 911.
I wonder if it was like a
And
GTS or something like that. Probably
it might
makes
have
sense.
been.
Yeah.
Either way, I'd rather go to an event like that and see some pretty cool stuff and talk to some awesome Porsche owners and some other people in that community, see the IROC cars in person, all of that. I'd rather do that and then go hang out down along the way to Bigsby Bridge on PCH or go hang out at 17 Mile and get panning shots. Like, I'd rather do that and see these people driving their cars. Granted, the Quail is great for reviews or not reviews, unveilings, and I love that that happens. It's funny, actually, when I was in college, I actually worked at Quail Lodge. So
Oh, really?
by proxy, I got to attend the Quail twice in a row. A quick story on that, actually. Sorry, and I might be dating myself here a little,
You're
just
cool,
a little
bro.
bit, but when the Mercedes SLS Gullwing first came out, well, not the first came out, but the more like recent one, I think this would have been 2011.
11.
Yeah, probably 2011. That's about the time that I worked at the Quail Lodge. I was restocking the for the Quail. I was restocking the drinks at the Mercedes tent, and they had a brand new one in that yellow that it was like featured in right there. And a gentleman came over to me, and he looked very wealthy. And he came over to me and he said, "Excuse me, can you tell me about this Mercedes?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not the guy. You want to talk to that guy over there." And so as I'm just refilling the water station and the Gatorade, whenever I'm listening to this conversation and they're talking about the specs and they're talking about the price point, we're taking pre-orders today. It's $330,000. You have to pay, a certain blah, 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 all that stuff. The guy walks over to who I assume was his wife, talking with him for or her for a couple of minutes, and then she takes something out of her purse and hands it to him. He comes back with his checkbook and says, "I'll take two." Right there on the spot, bought two of
That's
them.
awesome.
One for him, and one for the wife. That's my quail story. But when it comes to Monterey, as far as Car Week goes, I've got the events I like to go to. I've got the events that I want to go to. Will I make it to everything? No. And that's something I'm okay with. But there are certain events that I am be damned if I miss. And thankfully, I've got a handful of clientele that are going to be out there, and I'll be able to photograph their cars, whether it be at the track or around the valley. So, around the county, rather. I keep calling it the valley. It's not a valley, it's a county. Whatever. Um, but it's a blessing for me to be able to go out to Monterey. It is expensive as all get out. For those that don't know, I'm blessed with the opportunity to stay somewhere where I'm not paying an arm and a leg, but at the same time, just being able to go out with friends. It's a long drive. It's like 12 hours. But it's all worth it. And my recommendation to anybody who has not been, and a mutual friend of ours is going out for the first time, shout out AMG Josh.
Ah,
He's going out with Advance. Um, for anyone that has not been, definitely be prepared financially and book now for next year. But just be prepared to experience all that car culture has, because it is by far, in my opinion, one of the most amazing events in the world, where just anybody who's anybody just lands in on Monterey, and it's just a week of brilliance. And I'll be honest, from living in Monterey for as long as I did, it's the most exciting event of the year. Monterey's pretty boring the other 51 weeks of the year.
yeah. Well, it's so funny because like I feel like Monterey and Carmel as a whole is actually like a really beautiful part of the union and whatnot. So I wouldn't
Mhm.
mind there living the other
Yeah.
51 weeks of the year. And then when
Yeah.
everybody comes and descends upon the city, I'd be like, I'd want to get out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Traffic's hell.
traffic is hell. I can only imagine.
But uh but
But I hope you have
Monterey is 70 degrees year round.
that, but you love to see it. You love to see it. I hope you have a wonderful time
Yeah.
over there. I
Thank you.
unfortunately I won't be attending. I was looking to potentially go for like 2 or 3 days, and
Mhm.
then instead I'll be going with my family to down to Tucson, going down south for an event,
Thanks.
which
Hey, there you go.
which actually is an event that we're all looking forward to going to. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll be missing Monterey again, but it's okay. Next year we'll try and go ahead and make it happen, which I keep telling myself every year.
Yep.
But it's okay. I really,
You'll get there.
we'll get there eventually, and
Believe
everything.
in yourself. You'll get there.
We're trying. We're trying. We'll maybe we'll probably hit 250 episodes by next summer. So
Amen. That's great.
we'll see where we're going, where we're at there and whatnot. But real quick before I let you go tonight, man, I wanted to
Mhm.
go ahead and give a free plug um to your to your Lightroom classes that you're doing every month.
Mm.
That you said you wanted to go ahead and
Yeah.
do up until the end
I
of the
like
year.
my light painting.
Your
Yeah.
light painting, yeah, and
Hmm.
obviously there's a lot of photographers that are within the not just in the Phoenix area, but just throughout the state and everything like that. And that's starting to become a thing that people like to go ahead. Everybody has their own style and whatnot, but it's important to be able to
Hmm.
go ahead and accomplish the proper edits in order for you to go ahead and just have good photography in general and whatnot. And obviously, your teaching
Appreciate
skills
that.
pay a lot of dividends into what you're trying to do and whatnot. So I just wanted to go ahead and make sure
Appreciate that.
that you had the
Thank you.
platform to go ahead and talk about that for 1 second.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's something that I took a hiatus on over summer just because summer months are just brutal. But it's something where we were able to do something in, gosh, was it May, June? Well, the last one was incredible. And you've probably seen the post on my page. I was able to work with Jake Johnson and his collection to photograph his Veilside RX-7 and one of his
Amazing.
R34s,
Yeah.
which ended up being an amazing opportunity. He was allowed me to basically enter his space and do that with one or two students, which was incredible. But yeah, essentially what it is I miss that teaching. I don't miss teaching in a classroom. I don't miss teaching high school, but I miss being able to instruct. And something that I like doing is light painting, which, for those that don't know, it's a series of long exposures with a camera on a tripod and using a light wand or a light bar, or you can use a flash, what have you, to essentially illuminate parts of a car and then stitch them together in Photoshop later on. So I there's lots of different ways to do a light painting, but I just teach a very basic form, and that is through my light painting course. And that is basically, I'm going to be hosting the next one in September. The location and car are to be determined, but we're looking at a classic Mustang. And we're talking like not just like a two by two or a fastback. We're looking at a potential Mustang Mach 1, which should be stellar. And that's going to be again, it'll be in September. I'll start talking about it during Car Week. I'll put out a video to discuss that once I have more details. But yeah, basically light painting course. I run it myself. You sign up. It's $50, but I offer discount codes for the first several people that attend. I limited it to 10 people per class just to make myself able to instruct to everyone there. And you get to come out with me in person rather than just sitting behind a computer and watching somebody else do it. You get to come out with me in person and learn how to light paint a car. You get the real world experience. You get to meet the owner of the car. You get to learn about the car, talk about the car, because that client is someone in my network who is donating their time in exchange for a free light painting that I'm offering so that I can teach what I know to those that are, curious to expand their, uh, their, expand their skill set.
Mhm.
So I don't know how much more I can say about that, but yeah, my intention is the next one's going to begin September, and it's going to go every month until the end of the year at least. And I'm working on some other online options for that as well, but that's probably not going to come until early next year. So yeah, thank you for the shameless plug. I
No,
appreciate
not at
that.
all, dude. Of course, it's my pleasure. I
Yeah,
appreciate you doing what you're doing over there. I think it's really, really, really cool for anybody who's like a beginner, or not just a beginner, somebody who maybe doesn't focus on that and they want to go ahead and expand their portfolio or expand their skill set and whatnot. I think it's really important that they get those opportunities to be able to just continue to better themselves.
I will say my first student, a guy named Dan Meyer, he was my first student for my first class, and really nice guy. He's retired. He used to do a lot of photography. He works out in Gold Canyon, and he wanted to just try something different with his photography. And that first class that he attended was when we were working on a Mark IV Supra,
Mhm.
and the photos turned out amazing. And I will say, his photo was a lot better than mine. I was very blown away. And now he attends every time, and it's his friend that is willing to donate their time with a Mach 1. So be looking forward to that. I post reels about it when the time is coming close. And I try to aim it for the end of every month. So obviously, I can't be accommodating to everybody's schedule, but I try to set it on a day that should work for the majority. So yeah,
That's awesome, dude. Well, congratulations on that, and I wish you
thank you.
continued success with it. And again, anybody who's wanting to go ahead and expand their skill sets, go ahead and check it out. Matt's really, really talented and whatnot. And he clearly very much cares about the craft, and you love to see it. So, we'll let you go right here, brother. And I hope you have
Thank
a
you.
great time in Carmel. I will, I'll be there in spirit. Uh,
Yes, you will. Yeah,
and I'm sure I'll
I'll
be
send you a
watching
highlight
everything.
reel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Please do,
absolutely.
please do. I will
Hmm.
do my best to go ahead and cover it from home and everything like that, with any unveils that happen over at the Quail and just other cool stuff that happens to be around town and everything like that. Because I love what happens. It's just I can't make it this year, and I haven't
That's
been able to
okay.
make it in years past. But we do try our best to go ahead and just focus on what's happening there and everything like that. But if you're interested in giving a follow to Matt, make sure you give him a follow. Matt Engdall _photo on Instagram is where he's at. All his stuff is there, and you can go ahead and find him. Reaching out to him about his classes, and just if you want to book a photo shoot with him and whatnot, please do. The guy's talented. He'll go
Thank
ahead and
you.
take, he'll definitely go ahead and do a great shoot with your car.
Thank
And
you.
whatnot. And then for anybody who was interested, make sure you're giving us a follow here on Instagram at Tormenting Tarmac, of course. And you can go ahead and subscribe, like, share, leave a review, leave a 5-star rating if you think that this podcast is any good. I hope you do. On Apple Podcasts, of course, please do that. It would, if you're here listening to these podcasts and whatnot, why don't you go ahead and just subscribe? We do our best to go ahead and put out a really good show weekly. So hopefully you go ahead and stick around. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And then I'll keep saying it. If anybody's interested in partnering up or sponsoring Tormenting Tarmac, we have an email account. Reach us at tormentingtarmac@gmail.com. We are there for your sponsoring needs if you so choose. But Matt, thanks for your time tonight, brother. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
And for everybody listening, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. My name is indeed Jorge Aquino. This is Tormenting Tarmac, and it's a podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Good night, everybody.